Hello, everyone, and welcome to B2B Live. Today, I am your host, Delise Abraham. I'm so excited to actually be here. To be with you. It's going to be you and I today. Today, we're going to be talking about leading with purpose, cultivating spiritual intelligence in communication. Why is this important? Well, it's important because the industry is shifting. Consumers are shifting. People want that level of connection. And in order for them to get that level of connection, um, we have to take things to that next level, how we communicate. And so, of course, your communication is important. I am your host, Elise Abraham. If you are new to my channel, welcome. And if this live, if this recording resonates with you, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and share this with a friend. Save this for later. And the reason why I'm saying to you to save it for later, as well as to share it, is so that it will be in your wheelhouse. We hear so many things about communications. We hear so many things on effective communication, how to speak effectively, how to build our team, how to have empathy in our communication. So, why spiritual intelligence and in your communication? I know, makes lots of sense because that is the direction of where we're going. Now, if you have any questions or thoughts, please put it in the comments. If I see it, I will answer it right away, and or if I don't see it, I will respond to it afterwards when I am finished. What we will be discussing today, topics of discussion, will be what is spiritual intelligence and how we can improve our communication. The second topic will be leading with purpose, how intention shapes our actions. The third point will be building stronger connections with empathy and understanding. And finally, we will round it off with creating meaningful conversations that help us grow personally and professionally. Yes. So, what is spiritual intelligence? If you do any quick Google search, spiritual intelligence, it comes up. It will tell you that it is getting to a higher level of consciousness. And when we think higher level of consciousness, some people may have some biases and notions in how to achieve that. Or they might think this is something separate from business. But when you stop and think, I want you to pay attention with this. When we look at what is what is spiritual intelligence and how you can improve your communication, essentially what that is saying is that time in the morning when you wake up and you're doing your journaling and you're taking your time to pray and you're taking the time to connect within and go within and do your breath work and read your spiritual texts and gain wisdom and insight. That is how you're getting that spiritual intelligence. You have to get into that space. And the best time to do it is in the morning. You can do it, of course, at night before you go to bed. There are routines that people do. But your morning routine is what is going to set the pace, that set the standards. And so some people might say, well, I just shift my mindset. And mindset shifting is good, yes, but you need to also get into the spirit. In order to do that, you have to know yourself. And to do that, you need to be alone. And so your morning routine is important. You getting up in the morning and maybe you're journaling, you're taking time to reflect. What did I dream? Taking time in prayer. All of those things are important because it sets you up. When you're in that space as well, now you're also paying attention to how you communicate to yourself. And how you communicate to yourself is how you will communicate with others. I'm going to repeat it. How you communicate with yourself is how you communicate with others. And so your morning routine, not just positive affirmations, not just this will be a great day. Those are nice. but you have to get in deeper. As I mentioned, the industry is shifting. Where clients and consumers are going, they want to connect with you. So anytime you put out any post, anytime you put out your programs or anything like that, what's happening is that now you're connecting with them, you resonate with them, but your morning routine sets the page, sets the standard for that day. And it isn't just saying, oh, I want to have this and this and that. It goes deeper. As I said, you have to tap in. You have to tap in into yourself. So, spiritual intelligence, one of the definitions of spiritual intelligence, it says it is a higher dimension of intelligence beyond the ego that has access to the mature qualities and advanced capabilities of the true self. It is a higher dimension of intelligence beyond the ego. Beyond the ego. We are hearing a lot about EQ, emotional intelligence. We hear about IQ, your intellectual intelligence. Now, as I mentioned earlier, things are shifting. We had conscious consumerism. We are shifting and navigated into spiritual consumerism. And so this is why you, business owner, me, business owner, all of us, executive, whoever you are, if you are leading a team, if you have an organization, or even if you're part of it, you have to start developing your SQ, your spiritual intelligence. And that is merging your IQ, your EQ together and blending it with the whole. So in Christianity, they have Father, Son, Holy Spirit, the number three, right? In a lot of faith, faith-based three, the number three is very, very important, right? It's that like completion, or the number seven, it's completion. And so your spiritual intelligence makes a difference. And so when you have your SQ, your spiritual intelligence, which mixed, you get spiritual intelligence when you mix your IQ and your EQ, that equals your presence. You know, when you walk into a room and people just navigate to you, they're magnetic. You're like a magnet, right? You draw them. The ones who you want, they're attracted to you. You don't want to learn from you. Well, that work that you've been doing, the cultivation of your spirit, is playing a huge part of it. Not making this stuff up. It is true. Test it out yourself and you shall see. All right. If you have any questions, please put it in the comment. If you have a comment, put it in there. I want to answer any questions that you have, but I also want you to get a good definition of spiritual IQ, your spiritual intelligence, and um, how it supports you in your journey. So your morning routine, as I mentioned, is exceptionally important. When you get up and you're spending time with you in the early mornings, when it's quiet, when it's still, it makes a difference. Your meditation needs to be strategic. Your prayer needs to be strategic. People may not want to hear this. It may sound very militant, but there is a strategy. And as you start getting into this more and more, you will recognize and realize how valuable it is when your intention, even with your spiritual IQ, how that intelligence sets the tone for the day. Because now you're calling in, you're drawing in um, what you need to be able to effectively communicate for that day, for that week, for that season in your life. So, to recap, remember your EQ, your emotional intelligence, plus your IQ, your intelligence, um, can equal your SQ. You want your SQ, your spiritual intelligence, together. And that equals your presence. And you cannot fake presence. You cannot fake it. Some people, there's an old saying, fake it till you make it. Pretend you're this until you're that. People are smarter now. They are. We are exposed to so much knowledge. So much is available to us that they want beyond the superficial. So you now need to move beyond the ego. If you want to have impact, if you want to create influence, you need to move beyond the ego and get into that spirit, because that is where things are shifting. That is where things are moving. I hope you are all with me on this. So that means you have to start tapping into your soul. Yes. Yes, you do. Everyone shake their head. Yes. And I'm going to say it again. To do that, that means you have to spend time alone. You know who do this a lot? Entrepreneurs. In our society, globally, wherever you are in your world, when they treat being alone as a punishment, they don't recognize that in that space of being alone, there is value, because now you're getting to know yourself. So when we look at prisons, I'll put my pen down. When we look at prison system, they go to jail, and then let's say something happens, they have to put them in the hole. So they go into the hole. They have to spend time with themselves. Now, the reason why that's punishment for a lot of people is because people don't like to be alone, because now they have to face themselves. Now they have to face their demons. Now they have to face the truth of any and every situation. And that becomes hard. It's very hard. But the more you spend time with you, the better you get to know you. Now the accountability happens. Now you start to shed the ego. Now you start aligning with the divine. You start aligning with the atmosphere. This is how you become an atmosphere shifter. This is how you can magnetize the things, the people, the resources to you. And the more you do it, the stronger and more magnetic you become. If you know anything about Joe Dispenza, he deals all the stuff with the brain. He's a doctor. He's been doing this for many, many, many years. He has many case studies about this, and he advocates for spending time alone, that being in meditation, connecting within. And the reason why he does this is because he knows the results that is going to happen. And he's part of the people who is leading the change, the influence for this new spiritual consumerism, like where people spiritual IQ, because now people are wanting to move beyond the ego. And he's helping people to do that in a very holistic way. Because when you start getting into these things, if you don't know what you're doing, it becomes very hard to navigate. Now, how can we use this in our communication? Well, I'm glad that you asked. I am glad that you asked that. This leads me into point number 2. Where's my point number 2? Leading with purpose. Leading with purpose, how intentions shape our actions. Well, how do our intentions shape our actions? All you have to do is just look at your life. Your thoughts in the past has got you where you are right now. Just look in your own life. So now you have to be intentional. Earlier, when I stated how to set your day, how you're starting your day, the work that you're doing in the secret place, in the early mornings, your meditation work, the journaling, all of those things that you're doing. And I said to you that you have to be strategic. We have to be strategic. Then now you have to, that's where the intention part comes in. That's where the intention piece comes in. Now, the question from Matthew, thank you so much for sharing this. How do we tap into our SQ? Thank you, Matthew, for asking that really good question. I appreciate it because, as I said, that morning piece. And so that morning piece is part of your intention that you have to set for the day. What is my day going to look like? What is my week going to look like? What is my season going to look like? There are 4 seasons in the year, or 2 seasons in the year, and rainy season, dry season, um, what is that going to look like? So when you go into your time of prayer, your time of meditation, your time of reflection, in setting your intention, then you have to take the intention with you. Now you have a goal, a focus. In business, people are saying they have projects that they have. Okay, this is the goal. This is where we're going. We have a team that's doing this. Remember, now you, leader, you, business owner, now you have to be strategic in your approach when you are going into this time of SQ for your spiritual intelligence, for your spiritual growth, to be able to sustain you physically, mentally, and emotionally. I hope you're all with me. Nod yes if you are. Put a thumbs up. Because when you do this, when you have an intention for what this is going to look like, it becomes easier for you when you get into your morning prayer, when you get into your morning meditation, to navigate, to magnetize, and to cultivate the atmosphere that you need. And you can get the answers in order for you to succeed. Good example here, Napoleon Hill. He's been gone. Everybody reads his book, Think and Grow Rich. That's one of his most famous books, where he interviews how many other millionaires of his time. And now, of course, many of those millionaires, there's that legacy of wealth that's followed. But one of the things that he always shared, and a lot of people bypass and they forget because he didn't call it spiritual intelligence at that time. And if you reread the book and you really comb through it finely, and any of his other books, if you've read it, you will see that one of the things that these top business owners that they would do, they would spend time. They would shut off the lights, don't disturb me, and they will spend time. There is a problem that's happening. They need a moment. They take a moment. They take the time, and then the answer comes to them speedily. Even in his books, he shares sometimes, put your spirit to work, because your physical body's resting, but the spirit doesn't sleep. So he says to people, when you go to bed, and of course we all see this now, a lot of people talk about it, what is your intention? What are you thinking about before you go to bed? What is the instruction that you're putting out there to support you, so when you wake up in the morning, it's already done? So you see how all of the things that you've been doing, how they work together, and why it's important now for you to get into your routine in the morning, to get into your meditative space, to connect with the divine, to connect within yourself, so that and to also have a goal. To also have a goal. Your goal is your intention. So thank you once again, everyone who's joining in. I hope that you guys are actually enjoying this conversation and that you are learning something from this, because this is something that I had to also learn, and I'm still continue growing in it. But I wanted to share it with you because you know why? You need to know this. Now we're getting to the next level in our industry, in our business, where there's so much noise. And how do we stand out? Well, we need that spiritual IQ. We need to become magnetic. We need to spend time with ourselves so that we can magnetize and attract the right people, the resources, all of the things that we need to be able to move forward, so that we can have the impact and the influence that we need. But in order to do that, Yes, I know you have marketing. Yes, you have sales. Yes, you have PR. Yes, you have a VA, an assistant. Yes, you have HR. You have all of these people, but you have to look at you. You have to look at you and you have to spend time with you. You have to change how you're communicating with yourself. And in order to do that, you got to spend time with you, as I mentioned, and you got to start doing the things early in the morning and even late at night before you go to bed, where you have that goal, where you have that intention. And you put your very spirit to work to magnetize the people, the places, the resources to come into your life. And now, when you walk into spaces, you can shift atmospheres, similar to what you're seeing other people who are in top of their industry. How are they shifting atmosphere? How can they walk into a space? Sometimes you may not know anyone, but you walk into a space and the right people are magnetized to you because you did the work, my friend. You have done the work. Our third point, building stronger connections with empathy and understanding. Building stronger connections with empathy and understanding. Well, how do we do this? I'm sure many of us has heard about empathy. We've heard about having the emotional IQ to be able to support our teams, to be able to support all of these things. So how do we cultivate that? Right? And one of that piece that I want to share here is with building stronger connections. The Shakespeare said, "To thy own self be true." That means you got to get to know yourself. And as you start aligning within yourself, as you start connecting all of those parts, the mental, the spiritual, the emotional, the physical, as this start working together, saying walking together, but working together, now you're going to be recognizing and seeing a massive difference, because now you're seeing things from different perspective. The more you spend time with you, the more your intentions are clear, the more you spend time in meditation and reflection, the answers will come to you. And this is the fact, I'm not making it up. Okay? And anyone who is in any industry and you have a coach and they're doing all these things, they share these information with you. They may not go as in detail, but that is essentially the beginning stages of what they're doing. So do not take this lightly. All right. So, in terms of the empathy and the understanding, the more you spend time with yourself and you start connecting and aligning yourself, the better opportunity you have now to see things from other people's perspective, their point of view. Where is this person coming from? And now, as I mentioned earlier, with spiritual intelligence, now you're releasing the ego. You're getting the ego, you're subduing the ego. Instead of the ego running the show, now it's you. So you're subduing it, right? You're making it smaller. And so it's easier for you now to become more empathetic, more understanding, because you're so aligned. You can see the person for who they really are. You can see the spirit behind what they're actually saying, which can be fear. What are they communicating? They're saying this because they're afraid. They're saying this because they're sad. They're saying this because they're happy. They're saying this because now you're not just hearing words that are coming out of people's mouth, but now you're also hearing their intention. Now you're also understanding where they're coming from. You still need more information and you're still going to ask them questions and all of those things, but now you're paying attention. You're paying attention to their tone. You're paying attention to their voice. You're paying attention to the spirit of the why they're saying what they're saying. And a lot of it can be revealed. I had to learn this a lot. It took me many, many, many years during my time in the military, during my time working with corporate, just even during my time like networking and being around others, because I just don't have time to waste. You don't have time to waste. I don't have time to waste. And it isn't about getting a catchy hook and this is fun and I'm going to do this. No, it's beyond that catchy hook. It's, what are you really saying? That is this aligned? And so when you recognize that your time is one of your most precious resources, you don't want to waste it. And because you don't want to waste it, as you spend time alone now in the and you learned how to communicate with yourself, and you have your spiritual IQ up, and you're cultivating it daily. Yes, I said daily. That makes it easier for you to be a bit more direct. Not direct in a rude way, direct in an understanding and compassionate way. You can get to the point because you don't have time to waste. A question came in. Yes, Matthew, thank you. You said, when do we set aside time for ourselves? How do we make it productive? Excellent question. Thank you so very much for asking. Well, when you set time for yourself, people have time blocking, right? They time block, they said, this is what I'm going to work in, or I'm doing my emails at this time, or I only have meetings at this time, or whatever, like I'm in the gym at this time, whatever time blocking that they have for their day. Now, when you're in the morning and you're making, you're asking about productivity, the fact that you're in there, you're taking time in the morning, maybe you set 30 minutes to start. Perhaps you set an hour apart for yourself. You're in there. As I say, now you're meditating, right? So you have to come in with an intention. What is the intention? Why am I sitting here? Not all of it is about having a problem. A lot of people think, oh, it's when you have a problem, that's when you need the solution. Absolutely not. The productivity comes when you don't see the problem just yet, or everything is going perfectly well, and you're taking the time to sit there and you're being strategic. What is the direction in where I am going? That is how you're making it productive. So you might be sitting there. Perhaps you're thinking to yourself, I don't know what to do. Well, start with breath work. Perhaps you don't even know what it means to have breath work. Perhaps you need to put on like a YouTube or something to do different breath work, which will last maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes to get you right into that space, into an equilibrium. And that is how you're being productive. It might seem that you're doing nothing, but you're doing everything in that 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or 1 hour. You are going in with that intention. You are sitting there and saying, I need to relax, because in order for you to get to your spiritual intelligence, you have to be in a state of equilibrium. You have to be aligned. You're both left brain and right brain. And I talked about Dr. Joe Dispenza and how, he's been doing case studies for years and years. Like, I think he's been doing this for like almost 50 years, if not more. And so you want to get into that space, start doing the meditative work, start doing the breath work. If you can't do it alone, get the guided meditation piece and the guiding breath work piece. And after you do that, especially when it's your first few times and you're coming with a lot of heaviness. When I'm saying heaviness, you're coming with a lot of emotions, you're coming with a lot of questions, you're coming with fears, you're coming with so many things that when you sit and you breathe and you get into that space of relaxation and you actually start doing the work, the stillness comes. And then here you are, you're going to rest for a second. Sometimes you might just lay down and you may fall asleep for 5 or 10 minutes. And it isn't that you're sleeping, it's because your body, your mind, your spirit, your emotions are coming into alignment, and it needs that time. And you're getting downloaded. Things are being downloaded. Clarity is coming. Clarity is coming when you do this. And so now, as the clarity comes, you may not think that that is productive because you're not getting on a phone call. You're not getting all the other things. Now you're being productive because your intention is clear. You know exactly what you need to do. You have clear direction for your team to be able to execute it. And And on top of all of that, now you've done work to magnetize to you the things, the resources, the people to come into your life to support you, to support your goal, to support your intentions. So I hope that answers your question. That is how you're making it. The productive side is the work that you're doing, that time alone that you're spending. And Matthew, you are on fire today. Thank you so much. He says it reminds me of a spiritual definition of professionalism, being a calm, centered, and curiously open leader. 100%. Yes, it is. It is. No one wants to follow, and no one follows. If you look, if you look at history, even now, or even in the present time, when you look at it, people follow those they can trust. People follow those who are calm. People follow those who are centered. People follow those who they're just like, I just align with what you're saying. I'm magnetically drawn to you to support your purpose. And they trust that this person can do it because they have that confidence in that person's competence. I'm going to repeat it. They have the confidence in that person's confidence. Earlier, I talked about how we can get that presence. Well, it's the EQ, the emotional intelligence mixed with your IQ, your regular intelligence, your knowledge, the things that you know, your expertise, and that gives and mixed with your spiritual intelligence. That means taking the time to connect with your spirit, to go inwards, and that gives you the presence that you need, the focus that you need to expand your business, to expand your enterprise. Now we get into the last piece, which is creating meaningful conversations that help us grow personally and professionally. I stated earlier, how we speak to ourselves is how we're going to speak to others. When you start getting into that spiritual IQ and you start adopting it and cultivating it, you will recognize how you are speaking to others. You will have better communication. Things will become clearer. You will recognize the value of silence and how to respond instead of react. Many people don't recognize or see that there is a difference in how you respond and how you react. They kind of merge it together. And I'm here to tell you there is a difference. And as you start cultivating your SQ, your spiritual intelligence and your communication with others, guess what you're going to be doing? You're going to be able to effectively communicate with them. And to do that, it means that when you're spending time alone, how you speak to yourself. How do you get what words have you ingested? Now, the things that we read, the things that we see, the things that we hear, they all impact and influence us to a degree, however much significant it is. So if we're ingesting both visually, audibly, and verbally, the words that we say to ourselves, if we're ingesting that negatively, then our communication will be negative. If we're ingesting visually, audibly, verbally, positivity, then of course you'll speak not only positive to ourselves, but to others. You will start speaking those life-giving words. This pertains to you, yes, you, business leader, entrepreneur, executive, this mother, father, whoever you may be. It pertains to you. It affects you. Because when you start speaking life-giving words, positive words over others, they want to work with you. They want to support you. That's just a benefit that just naturally happens. You don't have to do anything more. They want to support you in your endeavor. And that can just be by referral, hitting that like button, sharing something about what you're doing, showing up to your programs, helping you network. perhaps connecting you with the right people. Why? Because they see you as a positive force. They see you as a life giving resource from your words, how you're communicating. Same thing with your team, how they're communicating with you. Now, yes, there will be people who they're just there for the paycheck. They don't really care. But the point is that when you start speaking in a particular way, when you communicate with them from a different level beyond the ego, things change. Because if they stay, if they leave, you have impacted them, you have influenced them. So their expectation, wherever they go, in whatever it is that they're doing, has raised because you have given them something that their very spirit and soul needed. And now that their expectations are raised, now their standard within themselves have raised. And they will start putting in and investing time in themselves. They will do the work. And as they start investing time in themselves, they start communicating better with themselves. And then, therefore, they show up to work every day. And guess what? They want to give you 100%. Even on a bad day, they will give you 100%, their 100% for that day. All because you took the time to cultivate your SQ. All the time because you took the time to be intentional. All because you took the time to learn how to effectively communicate within yourself so that you can speak life, you can speak and communicate with them effectively and respond when their doubts and their fears and anything else show up, and respond to them by with that positivity, with that life-giving words. Now, does that mean that you're not going to be direct? If something is wrong, you're not going to say something is wrong? You are. I'm not being airy-fairy and thinking that, oh, it's all great and we're all going to get along. No, there will still be disagreements. That's healthy. That's natural. It's okay. That's a good thing. How you communicate it makes the difference, has the impact. I want to thank you all for sharing with me, coming on and joining me live today. And I appreciated your time. If you have any questions, if you want to work together, send me a DM. I'm here to support you on your growth. I'm here to encourage you to take that next level, not only within yourself, but within your team. And the reason why I'm doing this is because this is part of my purpose. The things I do is because I've been doing this for decades, and I've taken the time, I've utilized it in my own experience. And I'm here to share it with you so that you can grow, so you can be of service to your clients, so that their lives can be positively impacted and influenced for the better, so that they can make the difference and their light can shine. I talked about that ripple effect, and it starts with how we can cultivate our spiritual intelligence and how we can use it in our communication and the impact that it's going to have, not only on ourselves, but on our environment and upon others. Thank you so much for your questions. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Join me next week. I'll have a wonderful guest with me next week as we continue this B2B Live and how you can implement and utilize this in your business, in your career, to positively impact and influence you. Have an incredible day.